Vroom vroom. What's up, guys? We're here. We did it. We made it. The Roundup. How cool, how fire. So, today, why should I watch racing? Why should you give a fuck about racing? That's the honest question. Why should you care? I'm going to tell you why I care, and then we can go from there. I like many people who are getting into Formula One right now, started watching from Drive to Survive. Whoa, I know, so original. I'm a real fan. But for real though, that show is fire. If you haven't gotten to see Drive to Survive, you definitely have to. I think that's what makes it work so well. I think that, when I found Drive to Survive, I was looking for a sport that I could call mine. I think over the last maybe like 2 years, I think especially since I graduated college, I found that I was really looking to get into sports for community, right? Like, I think that's why we all really love sports. In part is because of the community we can build with each other. I love talking stupid stats with my friends, even if I have no idea who they're talking about or what the stats are. I just love being in part of that conversation, right? But I want to actually like know what the I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And like, I play baseball, right? I play baseball, I play basketball, I played soccer growing up. But they never really felt like my sport. You look at me and you're not, right? Do I look like I play basketball? I barely looked like a baseball player when I was playing, and so I never really fit in with those guys. And like, my personality is just like super different from how normal sport ball people are, right? Like, I'm not picking up chicks, I actually choked on my own spit there. That's what I get for saying something stupid like that. I think I realized that, I can see myself there. I can see myself in these stories. I can see myself in these people, and I can see myself in that seat. And I think there's something that clicked in me, and I just became obsessed. I think mainly the thing that Drive to Survive really nails is the intensity of the sport, the intensity of the drivers, matched against this Shakespearean level, backdrop happening behind the scenes where it all culminates in the race. For a lot of these drivers, has been their entire life. I mean, some of these families give up everything. Some of these kids are like, they start karting at like, I think 12, 11, and then they're 13, 14, and they get shipped off to some random country in Europe, and they're racing there. They're like professional race car drivers, but they're children. And so they're on the road all the time. That's why you have like these 18-year-old, 17-year-old kids in like Formula 2 and 3 killing themselves to get that spot in Formula 1. Because this is their whole lives. They've all dedicated, given up money. Being a race car driver is so expensive. I mean, if you look at the prices, I mean, that's like, it's like buying a house. It's like literally buying a house, what you're investing in your kids. So these people, it's no game to them. That intensity, I think I've really loved, because I have that intensity for, what I do outside of this. As an artist, I have this drive, this need that I've dedicated my whole life to this thing. I can empathize and understand that, and that passion creates the action of the racetrack. I mean, how could you not, right? All you're thinking in that seat is, holy, I have to win. There is no other option. I must win. You have 20 other people thinking that. That is gonna create crazy every time, which is why racing is so exciting to watch, because everybody thinks they're number one. Of course, you think that when you're playing basketball or baseball, but it's a team sport at the end of the day, right? Like, as a pitcher, I'm as good as the worst person on the field, right? I'm as good as my catcher. Because if my catcher has no idea the plays, he doesn't, we have no communication together, we're going to be ass. Racing, I don't care about my teammate. I'm scoring points for myself. It's my name going on. I'm getting the trophy. So I don't care about this guy. I'm number one. He's worse than me. Let's talk about Dan Ticktum. We have to talk about Dan Ticktum. I think that's the story going on there is one of the reasons why racing is so interesting, right? And I think that's a perfect story for the roundup to start today. Dan Ticktum is on this team, this team that, you know, has been trying to prove themselves. And Dan Ticktum is fast. And if you watch the Formula E Driver TV show on Prime, which if you haven't watched it and you like Drive to Survive, or you're trying to find something else like that, that's an incredible show to watch too. You know, watching that show, you see kind of also the dedication, the life passion that Dan Ticktum has for racing. And you also see that he's fast, and he believes and knows how fast he is. And through the season, you know, we're watching Dan Ticktum, you know, he's fighting with his team pretty much, in the sense that he's fighting the car. The car cannot catch up to how fast he can be. And that's frustrating as a driver, because you have no control over that, right? That's someone else's job. And so that has created a lot of tension over the season. And Dan talked during the Tokyo race about you know, that all that stuff he was saying. He has a great relationship with his team, right? That all that stuff is just passion in the moment. Obviously, racing, we're taking some things out of context, right? And we're trying to Dan Ticktum's a kid, you know, whatever. But he's an incredible driver, and he just wants to win races for him and his team. But we get to the race, and round 8, you know, he does okay. He does pretty good. I think he finishes top 5, top 6. And then we get to round 9 qualifying, and he qualifies 2nd. That's the highest qualifying he's ever done. Finally, the car catches up with Dan's talent. And then we get to the race, and maybe before, I think some of the numbers showed that he had only led 1 lap the whole season before this moment. Oliver Rowland is in 1st, and then he swoops in, overtakes for first place from 2nd, and then he's leading half the fucking race. That's the story. That's it right there. To watch him to do the overtake and continue to lead. And obviously, you know, as we saw the race, Oliver Rowland takes home the victory. Pascal Wehrlein for Porsche does take 2nd from Dan, and Dan finishes 3rd, but Dan gets a podium. Dan is in contention. He showed the entire paddock, hey, we're here now. And now the team feels that too. So now the season, coming to around the middle, almost the end of the season, but to see how many more points he can get, where he's going to be standing for next season. And I would love to see him upset Oliver Rowland. But I think that shows why Formula E is so cool and interesting, right? Because we always talk about Formula 1, but there's so many other leagues to talk about, right? And Formula E is just one of them that I feel like is important. But talking about, you know, the Formula 1 race, I think we have a similar story to the Dan Ticktum, right? We're seeing Williams is scoring points. What? That was crazy. We did not expect Williams to pick it up so fast. I mean, we knew that they were going to have a better car. We knew that now that they have Carlos Sainz and we have Albon, you know, now we have a really good set of drivers. Like, the team is looking like we're going to get better with time, but the progression that they've done over the last 3 races is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's night and day difference. Alex Albon being in 3rd place for multiple laps with the incredible overtakes that he did during the race. I mean, Williams is the best midfield team now, hands down the best midfield team. And it only shows that they're getting faster. That's a superhero story. That's a come-up story. And to see Alex Albon, after getting dropped by Red Bull, like, handed the worst card, being on a team that had no business being on the track. He went from being on a winning team to then being dead last for multiple seasons, even though he has the talent. He kind of is the Dan Ticktum of Formula 1. You know, he has the speed, he has the capability, he has the racecraft, and he has all the experience now. So that was, I think, for me, probably the most interesting story coming out of the race. I think it was also really great to see Franco. Obviously, you know, he raced well. You know, he finished kind of middle of the end of the pack for his first race, getting comfortable. I think that was really awesome. I think that's what we want to see, especially after he crashed out in qualifying. We're gonna switch the mics now. All right, so we quickly have to talk about INDYCAR. I know I didn't mention INDYCAR into the weekend from last week, but it's because they just had qualifying this weekend. But now we're going to talk about Robert Schwartzman being the first rookie to win pole at Indy since 1983. The Indianapolis 500 is one of the biggest races in the world, next to Monaco, next to Silverstone, and it is one of the hardest races in the world. And these cars, these new Indy cars with the hybrids, the drivers are still kind of figuring out how the cars work, how it's gonna work for them, because they drive a lot different now than they're used to. And so a lot of them have been crashing out. And Robert Schwartzman has been trying to get into Formula One for a very long time, hasn't been able to make his way in. He's had incredible Formula 2 and 3 seasons. And then, yeah, he's had all these failed attempts at getting into Formula One. And he thinks, okay, well, if I can't do Formula One, I'm going to do IndyCar. His rookie season, first season, he's been doing okay, has had some struggles. Prima's a new team too. I mean, to IndyCar, they're a very prestigious team in European leagues, but this dude's never driven on an oval, and he gets pole. That's crazy. So for the Indy 500, we have on pole, we have the rookie, we have Takuma Sato on second row with Pato O'Ward. I think that IndyCar is one of the most interesting and fun race leagues to watch. If you're not watching IndyCar, you should. They are some of the most incredible drivers in the world from all over the world, all different kinds of leagues. So I'll definitely be talking about IndyCar and NASCAR on the channel. Yeah, I'm excited to see continuously, what Formula 2 and Formula 3 drivers have to offer. I think it's great to know what the next gen are doing, because those are the stories that go into the leagues that we love. And so following those and seeing these next gen kids, prove themselves, is pretty fun to watch. So I'm excited to also see them take on the Monaco this weekend. They had a really good weekend last weekend. I think if you look out for any driver, it should be Arvid Lindblad. He is kind of doing pretty good in the standings, but he is one of the most entertaining drivers, and Red Bull is watching him. So but yeah, that's what I have for the roundup. It was a pretty chill weekend. So it's going to be kind of a chill convo. I want to talk about why racing. I think I'm going to do little discussion convos like this for the roundup. So let me know what y'all think. You like this kind of discussion news? If you kind of want a different vibe, I'm new to this. We're doing this together, and I just appreciate y'all hanging out with me for this time. Don't forget to watch the races this weekend. I'm gonna give you the into the weekend later this week, so stay tuned for that. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best. Vroom vroom. See you next week. Vroom vroom. Skirt 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 skirt.